In the summer of 1954, during live-fire military exercises in Norway, several trained observers witnessed something extraordinary. 5 different reports, from experienced officers and soldiers, described a strange silver object in the sky. It hovered, moved in sharp, unnatural ways, and even emitted bright flashes like polished metal reflecting the sun. Despite attempts to capture it on radar, it vanished without a trace. Today we'll dive into their original testimonies, exactly as they were recorded over 70 years ago.
Report on unknown aerial objects over Stavanger. During live-fire exercises at Raake on July 27, 1949, several members of the personnel observed an unidentified object in the sky. As soon as it was possible, a report was compiled and is hereby attached. The Air Defense Artillery Training School has no clear assessment of what the object might have been, but would like to emphasize that the observers involved are experienced air spotters, highly familiar with both high-altitude aircraft and weather balloons, and that this object did not resemble either. Signed, H. Sverdrup Lieutenant Colonel. Signed, J. Simensen Captain.
Unknown object in the sky, Friday, July 23, 1954, at 7:45 p.m. During live-fire exercises with the 40mm anti-aircraft cannon at the Raake Range on Friday, July 23, 1954, we attempted to guide 2 aircraft into a fixed firing route. Despite our efforts, including radio communications with 4 different aircraft, conditions were very difficult due to heavy cloud cover over the range. Attempts to signal the pilots with smoke rockets or by waggling the aircraft's wings were also unsuccessful. While observing the aircraft for any possible signal, several of us noticed something highly reflective and shiny in the sky. Lieutenant Gråbølen pointed out an object at high altitude, moving eastward against the backdrop of the clouds. Others confirmed seeing it moving in the same direction. After a short while, it became apparent that the object was rotating around an axis, or moving slightly in an elliptical pattern. Its speed was very peculiar, initially appearing almost stationary, then suddenly rising and descending quickly over a distance of 300 to 400 meters. After these movements, the object disappeared into a low-lying cloud bank to the east over the Raake area. The object was observed moving in an east-northeast direction. It had an oval or mildly rounded shape and a very bright shiny appearance, around 30% brighter than expected. It was observed for about 7 to 10 minutes, standing still for 5 to 6 minutes, and then hovering and moving for another 2 to 3 minutes before vanishing. It appeared to be 3 to 4 times larger than the planes flying at high altitude nearby. Around 7 minutes into the sighting, one aircraft flew out of the targeted area into a clear sky zone. At approximately 7:45 p.m., the sky was still heavily clouded across the western horizon, with heavy dark cloud masses moving south-north. There was little to no wind at ground level. Lieutenant Gråbølen, who has long experience in aviation and air defense service, including many years in the Air Force, observed the object through binoculars but was unable to discern specific details. Due to the cloud cover, it was also difficult to estimate the object's distance from Raake. At one point, I attempted to detect the object using radar. Although there was a brief signal for 1 to 2 minutes, it disappeared, and the radar was unable to track it further. This phenomenon was witnessed by most of the battery's officers and many soldiers. Signed, Birger Guldahl.
To the commander of the Air Defense Artillery Training School, Stavanger. Observation of a flying object. During live-fire exercises at Raake Fort on July 23 at 7:30 p.m., I was assigned as a range observation officer. My duties were not significantly affected by the situation. While tracking a target balloon through binoculars, I noticed it passed close to a stationary object that appeared to be hovering at an altitude of 4,000 to 5,000 meters. When this happened a second time, I initially assumed it was a weather balloon. I decided to continue focusing on my observation tasks. Later, when there was a short pause in the shooting, I was able to direct my binoculars at the object while still monitoring the positions of the gun emplacements, some of which also had binoculars trained on the sky. I then witnessed the object making rapid movements, both upward and downward, at great height, fast, controlled maneuvers that seemed highly unusual. At one point, the object appeared illuminated by the sun. The sky was completely clear, highlighting its rounded shape. When the target balloon returned in a new arc, I had to resume my observation duties. The next time I had the chance to look for the object, it had vanished. Signed, A. Gråbølen, Lieutenant.
Observation through binoculars of flying object on July 23, 1954. While observing with binoculars, along with some of the battery officers, I noticed that the smoke signal failed to reach the intended position of the aircraft. Instead, I observed an object standing still in the sky. At a distance, it appeared as a silver, wingless object, located at a very high altitude. It moved along straight lines, first in one direction, then slowly turning back toward the east. From a distance, some suggested it could have been a balloon. However, I find that unlikely, as the reflected sunlight created an intense bright gleam, which would not be typical for a balloon at such a height. Through binoculars, I could observe a clearly defined object moving northward for 7 to 8 minutes. Occasionally, it emitted sharp flashes, as if from a polished metal surface. I am convinced it was a physical object, flying at a very high altitude, moving back and forth across the sky. What I saw through the binoculars appeared perfectly clear, much clearer than clouds, which often distort or blur. This was distinct and stable, not something imagined or guessed. Signed, Tor M. Kindem certified copy. Signed,
Report on observed aerial phenomenon. During live-fire exercises with the 40mm anti-aircraft cannon at Raake on Friday, July 23, 1954, we noticed that we were unable to establish radio contact with the aircraft. We attempted to signal the pilot with maneuvers and gestures. As he flew over the Raake area, the pilot appeared to notice us by waggling the plane's wings in response. Eventually, during a turn, he circled very high above us. During the next shooting interval, as the plane was flying westward, Lieutenant Gronlin quickly moved his binoculars toward the sky and spotted a silvery object, almost circular, at a very high altitude. It appeared to move up and down, and at times seemed completely stationary. At that point it became clear that the object was positioned at a great height. Others, looking through their binoculars, also confirmed the sighting of a shimmering, crumpled-looking object moving in different directions. I borrowed a pair of binoculars and after some searching managed to locate the phenomenon myself. What I saw was a small silver sphere, circular in shape, which emitted flashes resembling electric sparks, bright bursts that radiated outward like finger-like beams. Each time the object flashed, multiple bursts could be seen. I observed it for at least 10 minutes. During that time, it hovered steadily. Interestingly, when I pointed the binoculars at 2 nearby stars, they appeared completely normal without any similar flashing or movement. The slight motion we detected in the object we later believed might have been due to our own pulse while holding the binoculars. Signed, Trygve Johan Busch,